Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this live stream community meeting brought to you from the Epsom Incident Control Centre and various other locations around here to inform the community about the fire that started on Friday at near Fogartys Gap Road in Ravenswood South. My name's Stephen Walls. I'm the current incident controller, and I've been joined by representatives of other agencies to bring you up to date with the fire, the impacts on the community, and transition to recovery measures as we try to get the community back into the affected areas. I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting and the fire-affected area, the Jara people, and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and that's of particular note given the effects of the fire on the traditional lands of Leanganuk or Mount Alexander. As the incident controller, I'll just bring you up to date with the fire conditions. The fire is now more than 4,000 hectares in size. As I say, it started on Friday afternoon just north of Fogartys Gap Road at Ravenswood South. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, and in fact we've got fire investigators out there as we speak doing further work on that. Currently we've got about 250 personnel, 70 vehicles and 3 aircraft working on the fire. And we're confident that that is sufficient to bring the fire under control within the next day or so. Of the 60 kilometres of fire edge, we still have about 10 kilometres on the southern end of the park which is active, and we're doing some additional burning out work this afternoon and tomorrow to bring that fire out to control lines. So people shouldn't be concerned if they see smoke going up. This is part of our control strategy. The people that we have doing the burning are very experienced with this, but it is necessary to give us some secure lines and to make sure that the fire doesn't spread in future days as the winds increase. The Mount Alexander Regional Park has been severely impacted and will remain closed for the foreseeable future. And whilst the fire spread has slowed, we're trying to make sure that we continue to deal with the significant fire damage and the fire edge, which does require continued patrols. So people will see vehicles from CFA, Forest Fire Management Victoria, around the fire area. We're dealing with hotspots as people call them in. We're checking the roads and fire perimeter, and that's not any cause for concern. We aim to downgrade the warnings as soon as we can, but as I say, we still do have some active fire on the southern end of the the regional park, and for that reason, the fire is still listed as going. The fire has impacted telecommunications towers on Mount Alexander, which has affected radio and television. The phone towers have been restored, and that's appreciated. However, the telecommunications towers on the top of the mountain, we still haven't got good access there, and the damage is quite substantial. And that's, at this stage, the only part of the fire area where Powercor is still working to restore high voltage power, with quite a number of poles needing replacement on the lead up to the top of the mountain. Work is still being done to assess and treat hazardous trees on the fire edge and around the roads, as I mentioned, and so people should still be aware of the potential for falling trees, some of which haven't been damaged by the fire but have been weakened by the fact that they've been in the fire area affected by the heat or just by the winds and the dry conditions. Water has been restored to Harcourt, and we're lucky to be joined by the CEO of Coleman Water, Damien Wells, who'll talk about that a bit later on. V-line services have been restored on the line, and all those infrastructure repairs have been done with an amazing work from the agencies, their contractors, and good engagement with the fire agencies, and we've tried very hard to get those services restored so that people can get back to their properties and deal with whatever they need to in the fire-affected area. Telstra are telling me that they're assessing damage to the fibre optic cabling, and the most up-to-date information will be available on their website. We've had good feedback from getting the community back in over the last 2 nights to assess the damage, and we're pleased we've been able to do that. We've still got some discussion to go on about when we say it's completely safe to return. For example, we're facilitating getting the Department of Education into the primary school today to start the repairs that are necessary before we can let students return. That's it from the update about the fire situation. We're very pleased with the way the firefighters gone. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the considerable number of people from the fire agencies, support agencies and contractors who've gone above and beyond over the last few days and done an amazing job to limit the damage. It is unfortunate and really tragic that we've lost so many houses in Harcourt, but the damage can't be attributed to any lack of attempt to protect the community. It's been the opposite. So I do thank people. I know it's tragic for those who've lost their houses or businesses, but I've seen the dedication from the firefighters, and it has been absolutely heartwarming to see the efforts that they've gone to. So that's it from myself as the Incident Controller. I'd now like to call on Inspector Andrea Turner from Victoria Police, please.
Thanks very much. Good morning, everyone. So Victoria Police continue to support the Incident Controller in response to last Friday's fire. And now as we transition to the next phase, we'll continue to work predominantly with the Council and very closely with the Council in ensuring that we keep the community safe and provide reassurance to the Castlemaine and Harcourt areas as we transition into recovery. In regards to reassurance and community safety, we have a mobile police facility set up within the main street of Harcourt, opposite the Harcourt General Store. That'll be manned by police from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Every day through until later next week, and we'll assess the requirement for that to stay there beyond that should it be required. We have police in the Castlemaine and Harcourt area 24 hours a day, additional police to what we would normally have, but we've got dedicated units in the Harcourt area, both morning, afternoon and night, so a 24-hour presence of police there. So I encourage anyone that sees police, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to approach. The police are out there, they're your resource, so if you want to have a conversation at all, don't hesitate. But a great place and a great place to have a conversation with the police will be at that mobile police facility out there, which I'm sure will be the council. Sorry, I say the council will support us out there, and we also got police sitting at the recovery centre in at the town hall. So if anyone's attending the Town Hall Recovery Centre, don't hesitate to approach police there as well if you've got any questions. But otherwise, we continue to support the fire agencies and the community and work really closely with the council, and hope that as we transition into recovery, that we'll, that'll be a quick and seamless process. So please, if anyone has any questions for police, don't hesitate to reach out and ask.
Thanks very much, Andrea, and I know the presence of police out there has been valued by the community. and it is important that people feel that security that the mobile police presence as well as the temporary police station in Harcourt will bring. I'd now like to ask Chief Executive Officer of Colburn Water, Damien Wells, to cover the issue with water and wastewater, which Colburn Water have been working very hard on since the fire impact on Friday, and is going to bring us up to date with what people can expect as far as water goes. So, Damien.
Thanks very much, Stephen. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and thank you for your patience. We have been able to restore the network in Castlemaine. It's been a huge undertaking, and we've had crews working super hard around the clock to basically understand the level of damage, understand where there could be some risks of contamination in the network, making sure we've got power supply to our sewer network, all of those issues that in the main are generally invisible, that we don't always think about day to day, but there's been a lot of work to do. Where homes have been destroyed, we really feel for you. Those sites have had the water meters compromised. That's a risk of contamination for the network. So there's a lot of work that's happened to be able to get us to charge water back up into the network. But we're not out of the woods in the sense that we need to ensure that that water can be cleared as being safe to drink. It is not currently safe to drink the water, but you can absolutely, now you'll be able to use your toilets in your home, you'll be able to shower in your home, but the do not drink notice is something we really need to emphasise. That water is not safe for drinking. We have got drinking water trailers positioned, one in town and one at Rhodalisa Nursery. That is available for you to take containers down, fill up, get your drinking water there. We've also got a couple of sort of 2 litre milk milk carton size brand new containers that if you haven't got your own container, we can fill up using those and send you with 4-6 litres of water. But if you want to bring down a water jerry can or something of that nature, 20 litres, 10 litres, whatever you need, we will be there to support you with that drinking water. Now, we're asking people to tune in 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. every single day. The Colburn Water website is updated with the latest and greatest information. So 10 a.m., 3 p.m, that's when the updates go up. Go to the Colburn Water website, to the interruptions section of that website, and all the information is there. But I do just want to emphasise, whilst that water has been returned to homes for now, it is under a do not drink notice. We have to flush the full network and pull all that water through the network. Then we need multiple samples back to the lab. Then we need to work with the Department of Health to ensure that everybody is satisfied that the water is then safe to drink. So that will take that normal process to go through. So that could be more like early to mid next week until that do not drink notice is lifted. And that's really, again, 10 a.m, 3 p.m, Colburn Water website will absolutely keep you abreast of the issues.
Thanks very much, Damien. I'd like to call on the Mayor of the Mount Alexander Shire, Toby Hayden.
Yeah, thanks very much, and thanks everyone. So just a fairly quick update from me on where we're at. So we continue to support the incident controller in every way that we can, and continue to take directions from the ICC. And huge thanks to all the tremendous amount of work that's happening up there in Bendigo, as well as what's happening, of course, on the ground here in the Shire. And look, a massive thanks to the community too for their patience and generosity. I was up in Harcourt yesterday meeting with some residents, and everyone I spoke with was really heartened at the police presence and also the presence of other emergency services personnel throughout the district. It really has been a tremendous response, and it's quite extraordinary thinking about the damage, for instance, to that Vic Track infrastructure at Harcourt, the Harcourt Bridge, and to think that that's either close to or either nearing or is it indeed up and running or close to is quite astonishing. And ditto for all the other infrastructure and the Colburn Water crews, the Power Core crews. It's really quite extraordinary. I was lucky enough to be taken up by Dave Seppings from Victoria Police, and it was really interesting chatting with him about just how important this work is from the VicPol's perspective. And I know that goes for all of us, not just in the Shire, but in all of the organisations responding. I really want to talk a little bit today about, so we've, as you probably know, we've set up a recovery centre here in Castlemaine at the Castlemaine Town Hall, 25 Littleton Street. And there you'll find access to many of the services that we think are essential in the recovery and rebuilding phase in the weeks and months and even throughout the long term. So come along, you can meet up with representatives from the Department of Housing who can talk about crisis accommodation. The Red Cross are there with trauma-informed counsellors, professionally trained. There's Castlemaine Community House distributing food, and that's just to name a few. There's representatives of insurance companies, of so many different organisations. So come on down 25 Littleton Street, Castlemaine Town Hall, between 11 and 5 p.m. every day this week, and we'll update you on what's happening next week with that in due course. And the last thing I want to mention now is just about, I mentioned the extraordinary generosity of the communities, not just up in Harcourt and Walmer, Ravenswood South, but also throughout Castlemaine and Newstead, Guildford, other parts of the Shire. For one, there was an extraordinary fundraiser at Boomtown Wines, and big ups to those guys, raised over $100,000 for the Harcourt Community House. It's just extraordinary, and that was on one Sunday afternoon. Just quickly, so we've set up on our webpage kind of a central hub where you can go if you're interested in donating, if you've got some time to spare for voluntary work, or indeed if you're a person in need or your loved ones are in need. So if you go to the Mount Alexander webpage, it's mountalexander.vic.gov.au, there's a big banner up the top, and at the bottom of that banner there's a link that just says January 2026 fire event. You click on that and then scroll down and you'll find a tab called How to Help. Right, how to help. And under that, you'll see a huge range of existing services available and goods available. And I don't have time to go through all of them now, but I just want to outline a few of them there, just so you get a sense of what kind of community response we've had. And by the way, like that site is updated frequently. So, visit it regularly, update it, refresh it as you see fit. So, for instance, the Harcourt Progress Association have set up a GoFundMe. Bendigo Bank is accepting financial donations that go to community groups who are helping people impacted by the fires. And on that one on Bendigo Bank, you can actually nominate a specific community or area that you want your donation to go to, and that those funds will stay in that area. The Harcourt Footy Netball Club has set up a fund for members who've been impacted by the fires. CFA Taradale have got a GoFundMe for volunteer firefighters who have lost their homes. At Castlemaine Community House, as I mentioned, they're accepting donations of food and toiletries to their community pantry, and they're distributing those in a range of places, not just the community house, but also here at the Relief Centre. If you want to volunteer, again, Castlemaine Community House, Harcourt Valley Community House, Progress Association, Lions Club, Land Care Groups, Connecting Country, there's many others, I won't list them all here, but have a look at that list. West End Resilience is a great little local organisation here in Castlemaine, and they are connecting people who need support with those who can offer it. It might be that you've got a spare room and you can put someone up for a few nights. You might be able to look after someone's horse for a while. You might need somewhere to take your goat. Get in touch with, have a look at that. You'll find on westendresilience.org website, you'll see in one click there's a link to that notice board. Castlemaine Meal Train is collecting and distributing homemade meals, nappies, kids' clothing, and toys to families with children that have been affected by the fires. The Good Op Shop has received so many donations of clothing. It needs to be sorted and hung out in the shop. Maybe you can got some time to help them with that. You can get in touch with thegoodopshop@gmail.com. CFA Taradale are also encouraging community members to sign up to volunteer. And lastly, fundraisers. So I mentioned that Boomtown Winery had that fundraiser on Sunday, really quite extraordinary sums raised. They're having another one, which is called Paint and Sip with Alex Scott Douglas, artist, teacher, on this Thursday from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. It's $80 a person, no experience needed. You'll get a glass of wine and some delicious snacks. So that's Boomtown Winery. Rock and Rangers Brewing Co-op are having a fundraiser on Sunday the 18th at the Victoria Hotel in Woodend at midday at 12 noon. And lastly, Forest Creek Tattoo might win the prize for the best name. They've got Home is Where the Harcourt Is on Sunday the 8th of February from 9 a.m. To 9 p.m. down there at Forest Creek Tattoo Parlour. So lastly, I'll just say we continue to work hand in glove with both state and feds and with the ICC and with local community members and organisations. And we've been coordinating with a new group called the Harcourt Progress Relief Team, who are getting ready for on-the-ground material and non-material aid. And it's so heartening to see the response from so many community members and organisations. So please go to our website, mountalexander.vic.gov.au, click on the January 2026 fire event and scroll through. There's a whole bunch of tabs under there, but go to the how to help if you're in a position to help in some way. Thanks very much, everyone, and thanks. Let's keep up the good work and keep up the good spirit that's getting us through this. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mayor. And obviously a lot of support from the community has been offered. It can be fairly bewildering to navigate this space for the affected community. I can only can't begin to think what it must be like to be in their shoes. But we are lucky that we've got a lot of agencies who can navigate that and assist you. And I'd like to call on Megan Keating from Emergency Recovery Victoria, who can provide a bit of an overview of what's available in that space and the processes that we're offering. Megan.
Thanks, Stephen. And look, I'm representing Emergency Recovery Victoria here today and state government, and as part of what we do, we work hand in hand with Mayor Toby and his team at Mount Alexander Shire. So we have a number of state government agencies, as Toby mentioned, from the Department of Families, Fairness and Housing, along with Up to Services Australia also, to assist people be able to return to their homes and find a pathway to recovery. It's not a quick process. We understand that it takes time and we want people to take their time, but tap into the services that are available. And full credit to Mayor Toby and his team with the recovery hub that's been set up at Castlemaine Town Hall. The other option for information and the most up-to-date information in regards to state government programs is on our Relief and Recovery tab. So our Vic Emergency app is more than just a warning system. If you visit the app, there is 3 lines up the top on the right-hand side. If you hit into that, you can go to Relief and Recovery, January fires, and there's information about all the different programs that are available at the moment. Also, the work that Mount Alexander Shire have put into their website is a great resource for information as it happens. The incident control team have been putting in information into a newsletter each day, and there's been some very valuable information for all of our residents there. So we encourage you to reach out to what you need, when you need it, and how you need it, and look after yourselves most of all. Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. So I know we had the opportunity for some questions coming in via social media, and I'm not sure whether we've had any.
Steve and I have the questions.
Good. Okay,
and,
so we'll see if we can answer the questions then.
You must be answering them all very well to everyone that's on screen today. The first question's actually for Mayor Toby. How many people have been through the recovery centre so far, Toby? You're on mute, no. Toby.
Sorry about that. I don't have an exact figure on that right now, but on Monday we were looking at about 60 people per hour in the first couple of hours. Tuesday it was about the same. This morning we've had similar, maybe a slightly fewer today, and that sounds like a lot of people, but don't worry, there's plenty of personnel in there to look after you if you do come in. If you're looking for a kind of a quieter time to come, I've noticed just anecdotally, after 3 p.m. it seems to be a little bit quieter. There's a sort of a rush of people come in about 11:30 till 1. And maybe that's to coincide with lunchtime, because that's when we have Lions Club and Road and everyone who are offering lunches there. But I think a figure I saw yesterday was that we'd seen something like 180 people through the doors by yesterday mid-morning. But I'll have to take that on notice to get a more exact figure right now.
Great. Thanks, Toby.
Thanks, Megan.
There's a question probably for Stephen and Toby, will there be a face-to-face meeting soon?
Yes, and we're working through the process of planning that. We'd like to be able to have face-to-face meeting, obviously not in the next day or so, but we had penciled in one towards the end of the week. There's a few issues to deal with. We'd like to have some certainty about returning. We've started to get a lot of that as the power, telecommunications and now water have come back on. So we're planning to have one. We'd very much like to, but we have to get the details sorted. Stay tuned to the Mount Alexander Shire webpage, the Vic Emergency Loddon Mallee Facebook page and other channels, and we'll certainly let people know in good time when we've got the opportunity to do that.
Great. Thanks, Stephen. Is there any time frame around when people will be able to watch free-to-air TV?
Well, I think the under-30s live stream anyway, so that obviously came from somebody my age. Is that right? No, there's some people working really hard. As I mentioned before, the one part of the power network that Powercore are working really hard on is the line up Mount Alexander. The advice we had yesterday was that the transmission towers are structurally stable, but there's considerable damage to the transmission equipment. So in the updates we had from the various agencies this morning, no one's begun to put a time frame on the TV and radio transmitters on top of the mountain. And indeed some of the NBN transmitters as well that carry their trunk services from different parts of the network to others are still out as well. So it's important to try and support that, but it's a big job.
It is. There is no doubt about that, Stephen. And I think to that as well is people have smart TVs and are able to use apps, so are able to get ABC and different other channels online. Some of the local TV stations are actually running their news via Facebook and social media platforms. And we thank Telstra for enabling some free Wi-Fi, which goes for approximately 1 kilometre from the Harcourt CFA. What we will say is there is a big strain on the mobile towers in the Harcourt area, so we are trying to keep them for the use of the staff and employees and contractors of our agencies and also the residents of Harcourt. What about donations and volunteering? So, Toby, you've told us a lot about donations and volunteering, and there's information on your website. There's also information on the Relief and Recovery tab in regards to Give It, who is arranged through state government as a funding means, and Mount Alexander will be signed up to Give It to be able to assist as time goes on. And what we say is just be really cautious, because a lot of volunteers are working in the background and working really hard, but they still need to be able to store items and be able to work through things. So financial donations are always appreciated. And as Toby mentioned, Bendigo Bank have started their process. Toby.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Just to add to that, so the group that I mentioned before, the Harcourt Progress Relief Team, working with us at the Shire, are looking to set up, hopefully today, a depot in Castlemaine, a large depot that can take donations. So just stay tuned to that. I don't want to give out the addresses yet, just because not perfectly finalised right now as we speak, but should be available very shortly. And so at least we should be able to make an announcement this afternoon. So just stay tuned to that mountalexander.vic.gov.au January 2026 fire event tab on our website, and we'll have that information up there as soon as possible. But yes, we are working on because as Meg says, that's a huge issue, is finding space to store goods. And just on that, like if you want to donate food, non-perishable items are always preferred because it's much easier. My understanding at this stage is that fresh food, we've got no shortage of fresh food. So if you want to donate food, non-perishable items, both to Community House and other conduits, is preferred. But stay tuned to our website and we'll have information on that depot up soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Toby. And what we would also add is please don't bring donations to the Recovery Hub at the Castlemaine Town Hall. That is primarily for assisting residents that have been impacted. So there's no place to store there, and we ask you just to keep an eye on the website, which is constantly being updated, if there's a way that you want to assist.
Thank you.
Stephen, it looks like you've answered all your questions. You've done well.
Thank you very much. And I know there will be lots of questions. We might not have the answers to all of them. We'll try and get the answers for people. There's a lot of agencies working, as you've heard, to support different parts of the affected communities. For people outside Harcourt, you haven't been forgotten. We're probably using Harcourt as a summary, but we know there are other localities that have been affected. And as has been mentioned, stay tuned to various information sources, because things will be improving. We'll be getting other services back up, such as the school. And some of those things are difficult to put timeframes on at this stage. So keep in touch with the Shire Mount Alexander webpage, the Loddon Mallee Emergencies Vic Emergency webpage, and any other places. I will echo the comments from Mayor Toby about donations. Lots of people have been wanting to donate things, and having sat with some of the affected people who told me they needed a personal assistant because offers were coming directly to the affected people. If you're able to use the established channels, including the groups that have sprung up to deal with that, it might actually benefit the broader community and take some of the load off the affected individuals who are really welcoming of the offer, but sometimes can be exhausted by the offers that are coming directly to the individuals. We'll attempt to provide some further updates. Stay tuned to the regular updates that we're putting out, which includes relief information, even though it's coming from the Incident Control Centre here in Bendigo. And as has been asked about a face-to-face meeting, we'll attempt to organise one of those once we've organised a few things. Be aware that as power comes back and some of the services are reconnected, there are more ability for people to come back into the town, do some assessments and repairs, and be aware that the roads that you're driving on are still being assessed by council before they can be properly opened up, and that we're still having a bit of issues with dangerous trees. So please take care, even though we're trying to get people back into the community as quickly as possible. It's still an active fire ground. We've still got fire trucks, dozers, etc. moving around, and so please don't forget that. We're doing the best to get people back in, but we do need people to understand that there's dangers that you might not normally find in the town as a result of the fire and the response efforts. I thank everyone for coming on. I thank the attendees from Mayor Toby, Victoria Police, Emergency Recovery Victoria, Colyman Water, and all the other agencies who are working in the background. It's been a challenge. The challenge continues, but we are attempting to get people back in as quickly as possible and address the relief needs immediately and then start the recovery process. Thanks very much for your attention, and I hope your day goes as well as it can be given what's happened. Good afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.